those Democrats, Congressman Jeffries of New York, is arguing that changes to the tax code shouldn't be adopted until members of Congress have the chance to review the president's own taxes to see how any changes might affect him personally. Congressman Jeffries, member of the House Democratic leadership team, is here with me now. Congressman, welcome. Here's the question for you. Donald Trump was elected. He didn't release his tax returns during the election. Clearly, his voters did not see that as a priority or as a mandate for him to get to the White House. Why do you think this is an issue that Democrats should be championing now?
Well, Donald Trump is now the president, and so there's a higher standard in terms of the way in which he should conduct himself. Every president, Katie, since Gerald Ford, Democrats and Republicans have released their taxes. Ronald Reagan did it. George W. Bush did it.
Yeah, you've been making that argument now, though. And everyone's been making that argument, and Democrats have been making that argument for months. The White House says it's not going to happen. Is this the best way for Democrats to use their political capital to just force him to release his tax returns? Is it going to work?
Well, first of all, I think that Democrats are engaging in a public policy debate on a wide variety of fronts. Many throughout America are interested in the tax question right now, as they themselves, everyday Americans, have to prepare their taxes consistent with their responsibilities as citizens in the great United States of America. And so the fact that, yes, every president since Gerald Ford has done this, there's a certain presidential standard that should be kept. Why does Donald Trump believe that he should be held to a different standard? And if anything, the fact that he's a supposed billionaire, has got conflicts of interest all across a variety of different business entanglements, different countries that he's done commerce with over the years. The American people deserve to see his tax returns to figure out, does Donald Trump have our best interests in heart, or does he have the best interests of some of his cronies or other business friendships and partnerships that he has throughout the world? The only way to figure that out is to look at his tax return.
What do you think the American public wants more right now, to see Donald Trump's tax returns or to have some sort of tax reform put in place?
Well, first of all, the tax reform that Donald Trump has proposed would benefit millionaires and billionaires. I don't think that the everyday average American working families, middle-class folks, those that I represent in Brooklyn and Queens, and that many people throughout the country represent, want the type of tax reform that is only going to benefit the top 1% in the United States of America. What we want, actually, is job creation and the ability to deal with the wage stagnation problem that has impacted this country for the last 40-plus years, put people back to work, meaningful employment, strengthen Social Security, deal with the high cost of a college education. I think that's what average, everyday Americans want. They don't want the type of tax reform that House Republicans Paul Ryan and Donald Trump are trying to jam down the throats of the American people, which is designed to benefit corporations as well as the wealthy and the well-off.
What if there was a tax reform package that was laid out between the Republicans and the Democrats? I know this is idealistic thinking, that did not just cut for the rich and said cut for the poor as well. Would Democrats still demand Donald Trump's tax returns in order to get that passed?
Well, with respect to his tax returns, I'm speaking for myself as it relates to what I think my constituents would expect me to do as it relates to the information before me before proceeding with any comprehensive tax reform. Ultimately, House Democrats, Senate Democrats are going to have to make that decision on their own. We are, of course, completely, I think, in sync as it relates to being concerned with the absence of transparency and the fact that Donald Trump promised to drain the swamp, but he's turned into a living, breathing conflict of interest as it relates to a whole host of issues, which is problematic here in Washington, D.C.
Congressman, why not focus your efforts on trying to find a better tax reform policy or find better legislation rather than force an issue that you're not going to get anywhere with, ultimately, if the Republicans are not on board?
Well, members of Congress should be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We can demand transparency, and we've got those Democrats like Richie Neal and others on the House Ways and Means Committee who are working through the nuts and bolts of trying to create a more progressive, meaningful tax system that benefits working families and middle-class folks and senior citizens. I don't think one can be done to the exclusion of the other. You can do both.
Thank you, Congressman.